At 21 years old, Jasmeet was named as one of Canada's 100 most powerful women, the youngest honoree in history at the time. She has also been a previous recipient of Canada's Top 20 Under 20 Award and named in Glamour magazine as one of its top 20 college women. What a great honor it is to have the wonderful Jasmeet Sidhu.
I was asked to give a speech here tonight for the Punjabi Community Health Services Gala. My initial reaction was, of course, excitement, because I realized what an honor it was to stand at this podium and to speak to all of you guys tonight. That feeling, however, turned into nervousness, fear, and endless anxiety-ridden phone calls with my mom and family. I was thinking, what words of wisdom and inspiration can I give to others when in my heart I still feel like that little shy girl from Malton, Ontario, who grew up wearing 2 braided guthanis to school, and who used to spend banquet hall parties just like this one, hiding in the coat check, reading a library book that I'd gotten. Yes, I really used to do that. Needless to say, even though I'm no longer wearing guthanis, the prospect of giving this speech has made me feel intense gratitude, because in many ways, my presence on this stage is unlikely. I am a minority, I'm brown-skinned, I am middle class, I am an immigrant, and I am a woman. And in many places in the world, that is reason enough for people to say no to someone like me. Reasons enough in places in the world to be discriminated against, to receive an inferior education or none at all. And in some places in the world, reasons enough to be killed. But those things didn't happen to me. Instead of growing up in a place in the world where I could have been told no to everything that I wanted to become and am, my dad, a former Malaysian Army sergeant, decided to come to Canada. My dad, with my mother and 3 young children, came here in the winter of 1988 with the promise of a single mattress to sleep on in a house in Brampton and just $20. And when I think of my childhood and my family story from Malaysia to Canada, I know that my story and my family's story is not unique. It is not so different to what I know many of you here in this room have experienced, whether it was you yourself or your parents or your grandparents. To know life in another country, to choose to leave that behind and take a chance in another, to want more for yourself and your family, to learn more, to do more, and to be more. A country that allowed, for example, Women of Action honoree Rama Kapoor to come here in 1974 with 2 young children and become an instrumental force in helping women like herself begin new careers in this country. A country that allowed Navjot Gurm to come here at 11 years old and become a champion for brain injury survivors. One that allowed Tia Bhatia to arrive here in 1992 after being adopted at 8 months old to become an actress and an advocate for adopted children and girls. A country that allowed a shy brown girl like me, who was once terrified of public speaking, a chance to grow into someone who could be bold and vocal and to dream much more for myself than I could have ever dared to had I almost grown up in another country. A place that allowed me to go from watching my own mother deliver the Toronto Star newspaper for a living, to support us as 3 young kids, to me, not just 13 years later, becoming a published columnist and reporter for that very same newspaper. That is what Canada did for me. And there are so many stories like that in this room of what this country has done and is doing for you and your families. But with these gifts that we all know we have, there also comes great responsibility. I remember the first day I started at the Toronto Star as an intern. I I was 19 and I had just finished my second year at the University of Toronto. During our first day at the building at 1 Yonge Street in downtown Toronto, they brought our group of interns into the all editors news meeting. The meeting where they would decide what would appear in the newspaper the very next day all across the country. I remember so distinctly staring around at the room of editors and the people around me, including my own group of fellow interns. And I remember the exact moment of realizing that everyone in that room, except me, was white. At first, that realization thrilled me rather than scared me. Here I was, being a pioneer, I thought, with an admitted nod to my own ego. I was bursting through the doors open for people like me, and I felt very proud of myself for doing so at the time. But the truth is, upon reflection many years later now, I wasn't. Simply occupying a presence in that room was not helping other women, other visible minorities, have a seat at the table. It was only helping me. I realized later on, in my life, I will come and go. But the influential institutions and circles of power that I suddenly had access to would remain unchanged and closed. And therefore our society is unchanged and closed to people like me. Unless not only did I choose to open the door, but leave it open behind me. And to also go out of my way to break down those walls, to allow any capable person access to walk alongside with me on this journey. I often believe it's all too easy when you exist as a member of a quote-unquote other community like ours, for someone to cling to the idea of being the first one, or the only one, the first woman, the only South Asian, and achieve what they can in the world for themselves, and then go home with the pride of that recognition and nothing else. But what if, instead of believing that there are limited seats at the table, what if we all collectively chose to add more chairs? How different would our world be, and how different would our own community be? The women who we are celebrating here tonight, who are going to receive the Women of Action Award, they are leaving the doors open behind them and are all adding more chairs to the table in their own ways. I encourage all of you tonight to do the same in your own spheres of work and life. Because I know I certainly would not be standing here as an immigrant, as a South Asian, as a woman, if it were not for those who thought I deserved a chance and who opened the door for me and kept it open for someone like me. And that right there is the beauty of why our parents, ourselves, our grandparents all chose to come to this beautiful country of Canada. And in my family, that choice was made by my father for his 3 young children. I mentioned at the beginning how nervous I was to give this speech, because the last speech I had to give in front of a room full of people like this one was 7 months ago. 7 months ago, I had to stand at a podium exactly like this and deliver my father's eulogy at his funeral. 7 months ago, my father was standing on a beach while on vacation in Cuba, and while staring out at the ocean, he had a massive heart attack and died instantly. It took us 2 weeks in Canada to receive him from Havana back to Toronto. He came in on a casket on an Air Canada flight and landed at Pearson International Airport in Toronto, the same airport and the same airline that he was on when he brought us all to Toronto for the first time 25 years ago. By making that bold move to Canada, he opened the door for me so I can begin to open the door for others. I sincerely hope all of you tonight can take the gift this country has given you and celebrate all the opportunities that are offered to you and celebrate what we can all do for each other. Thank you.
Jasmeet, is your mom here? Where's your mom? Oh, would you please stand, ladies and gentlemen?